All right, everybody. Welcome to the post-game show of the Rutgers Rant. We discussed whether or not we should do this because I am really at a loss for words. Just one of those gut-wrenching losses to Penn State, a game that, the Scarlet Knights had it in their hands, and I think that's got a double meaning, that one. Not only did they have the game in their hands, driving for what would have been a 2-score lead had they scored a touchdown there with 7 minutes. They had the ball in Penn State territory. But Ethan Kaliakmanis, the greatest quarterback in 20 years for this program, had the ball in his hands, and they just dropped it. And you ask him about it afterward, there's no other explanation for it than that. He's been playing quarterback for his entire life. It's never happened to him. That's just, for it to happen in that moment. You can't feel any worse than we do, having covered him for 2 years now, liking him. How you develop a relationship with these guys, and we're not friends, but we certainly are around him. We knew he was a class act, stand-up guy. You went to his hometown, you met him there, so you've got you have a strong relationship with a lot of people. I feel terribly for him.
Yeah, on a human level, you feel sick, right? For it to end that way, especially considering how well he was playing going up to that, finding KJ Douglas, the greatest catch I've ever seen a Rutgers player ever make.
Well, that came after. You remember that?
Well, I'm just saying in the totality of the game, right. The 3 touchdowns he had, the staying in the pocket, the runs he made.
Yeah.
He had 338 yards, which is his 3rd best game of his career. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Pretty much a perfect game aside from that moment. How does that happen to a kid who's been playing quarterback forever? Because he has the word Rutgers on his chest. This is the kind of thing that only happens to Rutgers. And not even just looking at the entire history of the program. You look at this season. They lose to Iowa in a game where you're going back and forth. You have a chance to win. The quarterback gets sacked. He's throwing the ball. It's an interception. You're going against Minnesota. You're driving with a chance to take a lead in the 4th quarter, a game you have a really good chance of winning. And then the ball snapped when the quarterback isn't paying attention, and you lose that game. And then tonight, you're playing really well against Penn State. You have the win of the century. Whatever. We hyped it up a little bit, but it would have been a big win. They're up 36-33. They're driving. It's a position you want to be in. If you could have signed a paper before the game, 36-33 in Penn State territory, to go up 2 scores and essentially not close the game, but put yourself in position to win the game.
Right.
And then for that to happen, it's just
not just that, but you've got everything's clicking. They couldn't stop Antoine Raymond on the ground. You had another one of those great games. It's like the first moment we had thought, hey, they're going to win this game. And I wish we were in there, start playing coverage, or someone's going to get down there. Fans are going to rush the field. Sarge in the press box. We'll have Sarge call Ernie, the quarterback from the last time they beat the team in 1988. We're getting ready for it. I'm very rarely shocked anymore. Like, the best way I've done this for like 35 years. I've seen a lot of shit. When the ball's on the ground, I'm just like, what happened? Honest to God, I just in the moment, I just literally could not believe it. I thought something was wrong. That can't be happening in front of me. It was incredible.
It's unthinkable, right? Like, you can't. I thought it was an incomplete pass, or I thought it was just something weird. It almost like I have to watch the play again, but it almost felt like people on the field were like, "Is that an incomplete pass? Is it a fumble?" Like,
right?
Even there was some confusion on what was happening. It felt surreal.
Surreal is the right word for it. Ethan knew right away. Put both hands in his helmet. And I'm going to write about this here in a minute, but like, if you're blaming what happened today on him, get a life. Go do something else with your life. Honestly, and Greg Schiano had the perfect answer to that. He did not have a perfect answer to something else we'll get to in a minute, but he had the perfect answer to that question, which was, look where this passing offense was 2 years ago when he got here. And he had a perfect answer to that. Like, look where his life was 2 years ago. And he talked in just eloquent terms about what this 2 years for Rutgers meant, what this coaching staff meant to him, how it changed his life are the words he used. And for that to happen in this situation, in this moment, in this game against that team on this night in front of that crowd, it's just,
There's a lot of full circle stuff here. Knowing a bit about what happened to Ethan at the end of Minnesota and some of the things that were said to him, I can understand totally his feeling as down as possible leaving Minnesota. And I think he was a bit unfair to himself saying he was a bust when he was leaving Minnesota, but that's how he felt. And he felt really grateful for Rutgers to take a chance on him. Whereas I thought Rutgers lucked out.
Oh, totally. I agree.
And it obviously all worked out the way it did. It is kind of ironic. His first start as a college quarterback was at Penn State, whiteout game, completely dominated by an elite defense in a big spot. Now he's playing at home against Penn State, playing like a fifth-year senior, a seasoned pro, leading his team to the biggest win they would have in the Big Ten era. And it would have been just perfect storyline-wise,
Right.
and then
Yes.
that happens.
And let's just say this. And in the moment, I think I understand the devastation. It was everyone, like it was assumed the game was over. You look up like, wait, there's still 7 minutes left. They're going to get the ball back. They've been moving the ball. They're down 4. And you think, all right, well, I mean, they can still win the game. And then, the greatest catch, I can't say it's the greatest I've ever said, but that's what I tweeted in the moment. But it's the second greatest catch I've ever seen live. David Tyree helmet catch. This to me is better than the Mario Manningham sideline catch.
I don't know about that. Mario Manningham was in the Super Bowl.
I understand.
Perfect pass from
We're
Eli.
talking about Cajun Tef's upside down.
That's
That
right.
was a better throw than catch.
Cunningham was a better throw.
It was a better throw.
Correct.
And then the OBJ catch on the sideline. That was brilliant. I've never seen a more acrobatic catch. Andy Mills, the greatest sports photographer in the world. It's on my Twitter feed. Go look at it. It'll be on our pages. He'll win the national award for it. Trust me on this. It's an incredible photo of this moment. Him catching the ball where he is literally he's bent in half, upside down. One-handed. Incredible. So they have that catch, and you're like, all right, well,
in that spot, third down. Where if you don't convert that, the game's essentially over.
You're like, okay, so you think, all right, well, they're going to win this game. And then I got to tell you, if you're going to be mad at something, the third and the fourth down play calls to me. All right, third down, you go for the sneak, the tush push, you get a yard on 3rd and 2. All right, you only need 1 more yard. Why don't you do that again? Instead, you have Ethan lining up in the shotgun. I mean, the play was blown up right away. He made the right decisions, but I think his first option would have been to hand the ball to Raymond. He took off running instead, never had a chance. I just don't, I just think it's just this is a terrible call.
Yeah, I agree that if you're going to go for the tush push on 3rd and 2, which is a bit of a strange decision, feels like too long of a distance, you got to go for it again. Antoine Raymond, to your point, not on that drive, but the earlier drive where Ethan had the fumble, he's running it down their throats, 15 yards a clip, running between tackles, shedding tacklers. I just don't know why you don't give it to him in that spot. The other thing,
give it to him on 3rd down.
3rd and 2. I agree.
Right, 3rd and 2. Give it to him and see if he can you break over 5, 6, 7, 10 touch. Who knows?
Yes.
Why tush push there? I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Again, it's easy to criticize in hindsight, but I think in the moment one could agree that was. We looked at each other. That was a weird play call to not just take the easy, go for the tush push. If you don't convert a tush push, no one is going to say, "Why would you go for that play?" It's an understandable decision. If you're going to do what they did, you might as well throw the ball. Maybe like Penn State a couple times convert a 4th down. They would throw on the flat, catch Rutgers off guard. Try something like that.
Yeah, and again in the game, I mean, can't say Kirk Schrock called a great game. I mean, it was an excellent game. This is a good defense. It's probably the top, 6-7 in the Big Ten. I mean, they had 300 yards, ran the ball at will. It's just such a head scratcher. That one, obviously, if you're looking for one call to second guess, that's the one. We talked about early in the game, the decision to fake the field goal. Greg Schiano hinted that something happened on film that they didn't see the entire year that the Penn State defense did this game. We don't know what it is. Obviously, they weren't fooled or they were in the right position to make a tackle on Jay Patel there. I hated the call because it was so early in the game and it's 4th and 8. And it's, that's a lot to ask for a kicker. Yeah.
I understand. If Greg Schiano saw something on tape, a clearly exploitable, that's something that's why you save a play like that for the end of the season. And if you really thought you had the advantage there, I understand that play call. I understand your point though. 4th and 8, the second drive of the game, you're moving the ball, get the points in a game where points are going to be, every point's going to matter because it's going to be a shootout. To your point, as you were debating what to ask, that was probably the 17th most important play of the game.
Yes.
It's just the thing comes down to this. If we zoom out, the issue is that they could not stop the run. They were getting gashed at every turn. And while they had a couple of drives where they went 3 and out, otherwise Penn State, if they handed the ball off, they were going 15, 17, 20, 50 yards. The
same issue that was the issue against Ohio in August is the issue against Penn State in late November. It's the same thing. The same thing all year. They were just not good enough defensively and fundamental things.
Here is the thing. It's one thing if it happens the first 3 games, and that could be maybe coaching, it could be guys in the wrong spot, whatever. I think it's clear, especially in this game, Rutgers did not have the horses. They just did not have the guys to keep up athletically to catch up to these guys. I just don't. I refuse to believe that with two coordinators over a season, with emphasizing this stuff over and over and over again, playing veteran guys that they just don't know where to be. It's just they did not have the horses. Right. It's similar to, not the exact level, but the Chris Ash defenses where Chris Ash was a brilliant defensive mind. He just didn't have the guys that could do anything. They just didn't have enough athletes. We can debate the merits of that, but the point is I think that looking forward, you have to change something. They're going to change the roster, obviously, because half these guys are graduating anyway. But you have to get more athletic guys, and you probably have to get more experienced coaches that can somehow overcome the lack of talent.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of time, obviously, to break down what they have to do next. In this game, you asked the first obvious question was about making defensive staff changes. He wasn't going to answer that tonight. That's going to happen, though. I mean, I think you don't take over coaching in the middle of the season and keep the defensive coordinator. Rob Smith's going to be out. They're going to find new people there. I don't know what that's going to look like, who that's going to be, but I think that's going to be an obvious change. I'm willing to bet we will know that before signing day on Wednesday. There's my one prediction. I've been wrong before, but I bet you that's going to be a scenario there. Otherwise, the one thing, and this is a question we asked because Greg Schiano talked about the same thing, and I think he's starting to realize some people are tuning it out when he says, my goals for the program, championships, win championships here, and I asked a very simple, very basic, what's it going to take to take the next step question. Didn't get the halt because I was asked it quick enough, but his answer surprised me, and I thought it was really kind of a tone-deaf answer. He says that what they've accomplished here is almost miraculous, with the two words he used, and look, you want to say that we've done more with less, you can say that to me and I'm okay. If you want to say we've, managed our situation, how many ways you want to phrase it. It is not almost miraculous. I am sorry. You beat 3 bad non-conference teams. You beat Purdue, which is 2-10, and it beat a bad Maryland team. You're 5-7. You haven't beaten anybody since you've been back in the last 3 years. It's not almost miraculous. It's just not. It's I mean, no matter what your numbers are, Indiana right now is almost miraculous. And it's things like that's not almost miraculous.
To look at it generously, I think he's probably meaning the 2 bowl games and 5 wins in 3 years, which I understand doesn't help the point that much. But he knows the books better than anyone, right? And the books, for all we know, could be they have 1/5 of most other teams. If that's the case, I will accept that at face value. And we've also heard from Kelly Zinn and William Tate similar sentiments.
We know they have less money, but they did have $16 million this year. They had some NIL.
So did everyone else in the Big Ten.
Well, I know. I'm just saying it's not almost miraculous. That's my problem. When you're saying these things that are just fans are already kind of on the edge here. Like, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? I just didn't think that was the right thing to say in this moment. I don't think it's true. I think it's kind of like, I mean, it's hyperbole. It's not almost miraculous. You're 5-7. You couldn't beat a bad Penn State team in your own field when you have the best offense in school history.
Yes. Again, now you're getting a little bit into hyperbole. This is the second best offense in school history.
Okay, fair enough.
And second of all, yes, obviously I think he went a little too far with that. Almost miraculous. That's something that happens if you take this team and win 9 games, right?
Yeah.
But I understand his sentiment, and I'm willing to give him a little bit of grace here, which I'm sure a lot of people are not willing to. But I do think I understand his sentiment. Now, here's the thing. Here's the big thing. And we'll talk about this on a pod later this week about the future. Now, if he's given the resources to fill in that gap, I'm not expecting them to, win 3 more games next year. But you have to show clear progress. You have to win one of these games with those more resources to make that argument valid, right? If you go 5-7 again next year, I don't care how hard the schedule is. That rings very hollow to me right now.
I mean, you had 5 chances to win one of these games this year.
But the 3 realistic chances: Iowa, Minnesota, and Penn State. One of those games should be a win. Yeah. No doubt about it. Today should have been a win.
Right. Do we want to answer some questions?
We can.
This has been a sentiment. How do you do it? There you go. If not now, when? I'm broken. I feel your pain. I don't know. I wrote that coming in, and I honestly thought that you're not going to get a better chance, because what's going to happen here, maybe Penn State hires Terry Smith, maybe that program goes in a regression. But one thing I am certain that's going to happen is they're going to throw a shit ton of money at this football team, and you're not going to lose their starting quarterback next year to an injury. You're going to be playing out there. They are ready or more talented, as we saw today. Yeah, I don't know. I thought this was the best chance. You're still 10.5-point underdogs. I get it. They were playing hard. The Penn State, I feel your pain. That's a great question.
I would assume probably never in your lifetime, because when it does happen, you'll feel pretty happy about it. And when this happens ever again,
right,
you won't be as devastated as you were. That one was a point we mentioned earlier. They're saying the spot on the 3rd and 2 was a full yard short. Fine. That doesn't negate the fact that they probably still should have gone for the tush push.
I didn't catch that one. Sorry, I was still in shock after the catch at that point.
Yes. We also talked about the fake field goal. They thought they saw something on film, and whatever they saw didn't happen. And
right.
Greg Schiano seemed to allude that perhaps something got out to Penn State and they knew it was.
Oh yeah, I see. That's come on. How does that get out from who?
There's enough people in the program that have friends around the league that I'm not saying it happened. I'm saying it's not implausible. It is certainly possible that happened.
Okay. Next year, Shannon of the money from Zinn raised from him. He's got to personally evaluate the portal, hire decoy coach better. No more excuses next year. No winning season, no job. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be the mandate. We don't know. I watched Kelly Zinn. She stood there, watched all this unfold. The ball is in her court. I think they're going to have more money, but it's Penn State's still going to have more money next year. They're not going to have Ohio State money. They're not going to have. They've always had to do more with less here, and that's going to continue to be the situation. And I think now you're in a position where you got to pay some of these guys. It's going to be a fascinating situation. Like KJ Duff's $1 million player easily. Absolutely.
I have to know the ranges.
Someone's going to offer him you're going to have to pay 7 figures to keep him on the roster.
A lot of money. To that point,
holy cow.
Both Antoine Raven and KJ Duff spoke after the game. Both of them said effectively, now is not the time to answer that question, which is not yes or no. Right. I don't know how much you should read into that. There's some negotiation here, right? If they said straight up, I'm coming back, they lose all their power. But Greg Schiano did say that Antoine Raymond is a big building block. I don't think he would say that if he didn't feel pretty confident that the kid would be coming back.
They want him, and I think they'll be able to.
Well, they want him to come back, but Antoine Raymond and KJ Duff are good enough that they'll have a lot of people asking for them. It's going to be the ball's going to be in their court. Yeah. And again, I think, given what Greg said in the past about conversations being ongoing and the way he talked about it today, at least with Raymond, he spoke specifically about Raymond. I would feel pretty good considering what Greg said.
Yeah. Can you imagine how different this season could have been if they had even an average defense? Yeah, I can. And it's funny, this is the ultimate Rutgers conundrum. Could you imagine how different the season could have been if 3 years ago they had even an average offense? Instead you have Gavin Wimsatt, it couldn't, you were essentially running the option because he couldn't trust him to throw in the middle of the field. It's great. It's just crazy stuff. It's just, you finally get the offense you want. You finally get, a quarterback who's a high above average, 2 NFL caliber receivers, an NFL caliber running back, a good offensive line was good today. They were good today. A couple injuries. They were okay today. They ran block up. I get it. Still, you have a very good offense, and your defense is not just below average. It is worst in Power 5, Power 4 football.
Yes, it is historically bad. It is the defense that since 2000, this century, has given up more yards per play in the Big Ten. Yeah. 7.6 yards per play this season, per play. Here's another stat. Today they gave up 4 plays of 50-plus yards. 4 plays. That makes their season total 15. That is 2 more than Colorado, who was the previous low in the country. And the 4 they gave up today is more than 34 other teams gave up in their first 11 games this season.
Man. More importantly, the team fought the fight the whole season, never gave up. There's hope for the future.
We found him. The one optimistic Rutgers fan.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you for showing up in our chat. That's the Positivity Podcast right there. I don't agree with that.
That's a good point. I thought look, you want to give them credit? This could have gone the other way. It has never, I will say this, it has never gone the other way under Greg Schiano. He's never lost a team. I'm going to take the LeGrand season and put it over here. It's the one time it happened. Obviously, we're going to forget that one. Otherwise, he's in how many years he's been here? 20 years?
Now, I will say this. I think that he's doing things that a lot of other coaches aren't able to do, which is keep the team together. But I think keeping a team together should be the bare minimum for a leader of a program. who's making this much money and is coaching college football, right?
Like, I mean, when they're on this field, they were down 42-3 to Oregon. I mean, they got smacked around. They had some tough losses.
I understand.
Yeah,
look, it's worth commending. I just don't think that can be, what's not a chip on his shoulder, but like a feather in his cap forever, right? Like it's good that he did that, right? But at some point, keeping a team together and keeping them playing hard has to end up resulting in wins, like Michigan State last year, or like the turnaround last year. That's something to commend. If you keep a team together and they keep playing hard, but they still lose, how much is that worth?
Yeah, and this is along these lines. The good thing is we're now competitive in the Big Ten. Yeah, I think that was a good thing 3 years ago. That's where we were. We were having that conversation 3 years ago. We're like, hey, and they hated that. When we said that, hey, at least you're not getting your ass kicked by, they hated that narrative. They were like, what do you mean? This is what we expect. And so we moved past that and trying to hold them accountable. All right, start beating these teams, and they're not doing that yet. That's the next step. I think that's competitive in the Big Ten is a 3-year. And by the way, the couple of teams they played that are on the next level, they were not competitive with Oregon. They were not competitive with Ohio State. I get it, right? We don't expect them to be, but they weren't. And they play a couple of them next year. They play Indiana next year. They play Penn State, Southern Cal next year. It's kind of on that fringe.
Perennial top 25.
Yeah.
Yes. And a point where they're paying their coach a lot of money to make the playoff. Yes. Okay. Again, we are. This is the issue here, where this program feels like it's in this purgatory, this like limbo, where they made progress. They got to that point where they're competitive in the Big Ten. They're making bowl games. Mm-hmm. They're 6-6. They can't take the next step, which is beat teams that are slightly better than you. And instead of winning 6 games or 7, you win 8 or 9. You do what you're supposed to do last year with an easier schedule and get through that. Last year was one thing, whatever, injuries or whatever. This year, I mean, you had 3 golden opportunities, and I thought Minnesota was not better than Rutgers. I really don't. I thought Minnesota was probably on par with Rutgers. Iowa was slightly better because they have this voodoo magic. They just win these close games. They could be the worst team of all time. They're going to win these games. And then Penn State, again, is just the opportunity of a lifetime wasted. And, I mean, I don't know how much this will impact the offseason, but to lose that game that way, it feels like it's going to be a hard one for fans to get over, and I wonder how much it'll hurt the program in recruiting.
Yeah, I don't know about recruiting, but I will say it makes things a lot harder. It would just be everything, fundraising, momentum, like there's many things, season ticket sales, you beat this team, people have a good experience, it's fun, you win. I think there was a lot of things beyond the 6-6 and get to the practices that come with it, all this stuff. Like you put that, hey, look, we've been to 3 bowl games in 5 years, as opposed to saying 2. I mean, I think a lot of things that this loss. I mean, there's no question that it's a big picture. And now you're going into a pair of basketball seasons that it's going to be kind of a dry 9 months here for the Rutgers athletic department until they play back on the field again next year.
Yes, it's going to be a big test for Kelly Zinn her first 3 months. We'll leave that. I want to read that message real quick. It says,
that's what I was trying to get on.
Fonseca, you look like a stud with that beanie on. A completely random pick of a comment. Akiri, my man, thank you for tuning into every live show. I appreciate you.
Yeah, he does look like, yeah, man, you do.
Thank you. It was a little cold outside. That's why I'm so thank you. I'll just leave that comment up for a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it's going to be a challenging offseason to get through, because you're right. Earlier, when football was really bad, at least you had the winter. Basketball school was a conversation. Yeah. Now it's like, I mean, even what do you got? Lacrosse left? Are people going to try to get solace out of lacrosse?
I don't have lacrosse left. I can tell you that. I don't know.
Not spring football, certainly.
No. It's going to be it's tough, and that's what this win would have given you. 6-6 would have given you the first one over Penn State in a generation. Would have given you a month of bowl prep, and even if the game's all right, Detroit, no one's excited about that, but. All right, it's a game. It's it's a chance to go. You go 7-6. You're above 500. Yeah, there's a lot of things that were lost with this loss.
Remind me what your early season predictions were. I think my preseason prediction was 6-6.
Mine was definitely 6-6.
Right.
Yes.
So I think this again. They're 1 ± 1 standard deviation. The thing is, though, that standard deviation is the difference between you playing in the postseason, keeping the streak going, or taking a step back.
Right. This is a good question. We're going to talk about this here. I'm curious to see how much strong stuff we'll get from other teams. Arguably the best wide receiver pair since Carew and Turzilli. Oh,
I mean, they're better than that.
I think they're better than that. I think Strong's going to get strong offers from the NFL. I think
Strong is probably NFL bound.
Although I don't. We didn't talk to him today. He didn't have a good game today. Didn't finish the season great.
I agree.
Depends on how things. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I guess now. I mean, if you were looking at whose stock is higher at this moment.
if they both went to the NFL this year, KJ can't obviously because he's a sophomore. Yeah. If they could both go to the NFL this year, I think KJ is a better prospect.
Yeah, you're more worried about, and we have no information. KJ, and they were trained, they were coached well, and how they answered the question. That's an issue for another day, is what they said when we asked them about the future. I don't know. We don't know what he's going to do, but I do know he's going to command a 7-figure payout from somebody. Maybe not here, but I mean, look at the programs. Look what these programs are paying. I mean, there's no question someone's going to need that. I mean, look at them.
An SEC school will easily pay them a lot of money.
And then you have to wonder the other side of this, and something we have to talk about this in the future, but there's uncertainty about who's going to be throwing the ball. Everyone feels good about AJ Surratt. He's the future. I wonder if Greg Schiano still has to go into the portal and get a second quarterback so there's competition.
No,
you can't. You're going to go with AJ Surratt and who?
So you spent
who's the backup quarterback?
Sean Ashenfelder. You spent 2 years training AJ Surratt to be the incumbent quarterback.
I'm not saying the starter, but don't you need another?
It's impossible to go into the portal and get a competent quarterback to agree to come here as a veteran backup. If you get a guy like that, he's going to suck. He's going to take snaps away from Sean Ashenfelder. You're done either way. So at least if heaven forbid AJ gets hurt and you need the backup quarterback, at least you're training a guy for the future versus some senior who comes from UTSA who stinks anyway, and you're wasting $400,000 of your budget on him. This is a conversation for another day. Now, I will say this, to your point, no one has a better view of what AJ Surratt can do than those two guys having practiced with him every day.
That's 100% true.
So I'm not saying it'll be telling what they decide to do, but I do think if that is a factor whatsoever,
they know
better than anybody. So I don't know. I think it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It's the strong thing with the NFL that's probably holding him back a little bit is the lack of speed and ability to create separation. These two guys are elite at making contested catches. Yeah. They lead the country, both of them, in contested targets, probably because they're constantly being contested, like they're constantly being covered, and they have to outstrong a defender. I can't remember the last time Ian Strong just ran past the guy and got open. Like that just doesn't happen as often as you'd like from a NFL receiver.
True. Right? That's true. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
What's your prediction on when Rutgers will make the college football playoff? Probably not in my lifetime. I mean, let's be honest here. Unless Mark, who's asking this question, has
it could be 48 teams. Who knows what's going to happen here?
Right. Assuming there's still a reasonable college football playoff and it's not bought off by the Saudi investment fund that creates a 136-team playoff, which is certainly possible. Barring that happening, I think unless Rutgers gets a mega donor, I'm saying Mark Cuban, vitamin water guy, an oil salesman from like Texas Tech, unless that guy comes out of the sky, or there's a groundswell of Rutgers donors that suddenly decide they don't mind paying players, I don't see it happening. It's really, really hard to make the playoff.
It's good. I got someone noticed the studio we're in. This is actually the visiting coaches booth at SHI Stadium, and I can see they are scribbling on the glass here, the visiting coaches. I don't know what any of that means. RPO, 1-for-1, the exotics. They had all the different plays.
I don't know if those are defensive coaches or offensive coaches. Interesting.
Don't know. Great question. But yeah, that's where we are. Nice. Good vibe.
The Penn State press corps, which is probably double the size of our press corps, took over every other room in the press box. So we've been relegated. In our home stadium, this is what happens when Rutgers loses a game on the field, is the writers get relegated to the visiting team coaches.
Pretty much, yeah. Room. All right, take a question. Anybody else got anything? Take a couple more. I mean, obviously, it's like a cliche. Yeah, I agree with that totally. It's the most Rutgers thing ever. We say that all the time. The last time I felt like this was the Jets season opener a couple of years ago with Aaron Rodgers, where we were joking he's going to get hurt on the fourth play of the game, and he got hurt in the fourth play of the game, and I was still like, I can't believe that happened. That's the best way I could describe it. Like I knew it was coming. We joked about it. It was obvious. And when it happened, I was still like, I can't believe that happened. It felt the same way. This, even as obvious as it was, this was going to be a heartbreaking. They've been hearts were broken a million times. It was still like, I just can't believe it.
Yeah. It's hard to write it. If Politi wrote this as fan fiction, it would be like, this is a little too on the nose.
I might write some fan fiction. All right. That's good enough, right? That's good. We had a couple hundred people in here tonight.
Yeah. Thank you guys for really quickly, we'll fly around here. The refs screwed us. The refs are not the reason Rutgers lost this game. If there were 50 reasons, there are probably 49. Do we reach a bowl game next year? If not, is Greg going to get fired? To the second question, probably not. The buyout is enormous, and I think he has enough cachet at this place that he'll survive another year without a bowl game. Yes, and Greg will never get fired. He'll retire. He'll never get fired for what he's done for this place. Do we reach a bowl game next year? Gut reaction right here. What I'm thinking, yes. What do you think? Yes or no?
Yes, and I was looking at the schedule. I think the schedule is more manageable next year, and I put the but out there because there are. I mean, look, this is a big offseason. You're starting over. Quarterback, at defensive line, at a lot of positions. I mean, there's a lot of unanswered things here. Got to see what the receivers are going to do. A million things. Gut, easy, yes, because the three non-conference games are wins. You'll get three. You'll get three out of that schedule in the Big Ten.
We said the same thing this year, but we shall see. Thank you guys for thanking us. We appreciate you guys tuning in. 100 is the first time I've seen 100 people in our live show at the same time.
That?
We appreciate it. Can't wait to continue about basketball. We'll be doing our shows. Apologies for not doing one after UNLV. I wanted to spend a little bit of time with my family, and my laptop spontaneously combusted.
He just didn't do it because they won. Start that conspiracy. If they'd lost the game, he would have interrupted his turkey dinner.
I would have stopped.
Opened up the laptop and done a live show. They won.
In the middle of dinner, I would have done that. Okay. Someone asked in the Discord the next time we talk to Greg, he talks Wednesday for National Signing Day. When you watch the press conference, he will note that we'll meet up sometime in the future and discuss all of this at some point. Who knows when that will be? But Steve and I will be back on Monday, probably, for the podcast.
Yes.
And then we'll be around throughout the season. We'll be on our Discord. Join our Discord. Subscribe to this channel. Like this video. Follow us on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. All that good stuff.
Just call me at home.
Call Steve at home. He still has a home
a
landline for
call
some
me
reason.
on my landline.
Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And read our stuff on the site tonight and tomorrow morning. Thanks.
Bye-bye.